Welcome to another episode of Gotham by Night. Here we find Talon and Creed meeting shortly after leaving his fight club, likely in Talon's lair. Around them they see a rendition of the Velvet Rose, a club that he's very familiar with, only it's not broken. Things shift in the corner of your eye, and should you will it, there is false company in the form of mirages, such as bartender and patrons of the establishment. It is here we'll say these two characters are as we enter the scene.
Creed's just looking around, looking for Clown Tatiana again.
If Talon, I don't think Talon would realize that unless you said something. So.
No, he won't say anything. He's fairly sober right now.
That's right. That and Talon never summons people for meetings.
Yeah.
Let alone shows up in a suit, let alone limps and cuts off his foot. There's a lot of firsts between Creed and Talon tonight.
Yeah. Creed will help him walk along. He looks like he's struggling.
Well, not in here. Here I don't even have legs.
Oh, okay.
Here I'm that horrible thing people...
You're the skull monster?
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
So Creed's busy studying you because this is the first time he's actually seen it and been fully sober.
This natural environment, yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I've seen it once before because back, I don't know if I saw it. You were in the skull
car, but you were totally messed up.
No, I'm saying, did you appear as this when me and Patience were in your chamber?
Yes.
All right, so true. I saw you when I was coming down from crack.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of interested. I'm not so horrified at this point because I've been kind of slowly inaugurated myself to it.
Yeah. You understand that it's Talon, even if it doesn't look like Talon.
And I'm just going, oh god, that's what Talon really looks like.
Indeed.
So, you want to talk to me about something?
Indeed. You suffer from an affliction not unlike my own. I wouldn't call mine an affliction, though. And consider this not an interrogation, but we're friends, or I'd like to think so.
I should hope so.
So naturally, friends should work to build trust. He's not as affluent as he was with Amber because he's only known you for a couple of weeks, but he's in his lair and he's able to talk fairly freely here. So
yeah, I suppose friends should. I wouldn't know. I'm a vampire after all.
This thing in front of you kind of chuckles, but instead of making a sound, it's more like a light breeze flows over the table towards you. And
can you eat food as that thing? I mean, where's your digestion tract? Do you have a little body tucked up underneath? I'm sorry. I'm still
like, are you serious?
I'm sorry, I'm still very distracted. I'm just very distracted by and gestures up and down.
He'll actually leave. He'll walk up towards the office. But as he does so, a mirage of the Talon you're familiar with seeing sits across the table from you.
Better? Okay. I suppose. I mean, all right. So, well, we cut to the chase. We're friends. Feel free to ask me your questions. I'll try to answer the best I can with the ones I'm comfortable with.
You've been. Keep in mind that his only experience with this would be through Amber's exploits, if at all. So when he says you've been compromised, he's referring to the charmed condition, because that's, that normally that's like Amber achieving her goals, not
Yeah.
not a casual relationship or something.
Compromised? Else, what? He raises an eyebrow. I'm not exactly sure what you mean.
You have false feelings for someone? Maybe not false, but you're clearly exceptionally fond of someone. And I'm not sure if it's with your kind, I'm not sure if it's unnatural.
Thinks for a moment, eyebrows furrow, and shakes his head and goes, I'm honestly not sure what you're talking about. I'm pretty familiar with Majesty, but even I couldn't tell if someone had used the discipline on me. It's just the way things work. But if it is similar to my magic, I'll keep an eye out.
Town probably wouldn't be satisfied with that answer because of the very nature of
Yeah.
being mind controlled
Yeah.
makes that moot. Makes it a
I know.
pointless statement.
I know. It's exactly what it is. It's a pointless statement. It's basically him going, well, I don't know who did it. I can't tell you much.
Well, with your permission, I can watch over you should something happen, should someone mean you harm. I'll be close behind.
Creed kind of frowns at that and says, well, I appreciate the offer. Some of my business is less than savory. And while I know you mean well, certain things I would like to keep to myself, if you understand.
Sure.
Thank you.
This won't be the last time we speak of this.
I'm sure it won't be.
You've also got something else to you, similar to, and the Mirage Talon sort of points like with his thumb towards the office behind him, referencing the actual Talon.
Yeah. I was wondering when this would come up. You mean Bob?
So you have a name for it.
Well, it told me I needed to name it when I got it.
Interesting. It resonates with my kind.
Really now? That's
part
Fess.
of why I brought you here. Was to see if this is a recent development. To see if you were somehow devoured after death.
It's fascinating.
But clearly that's not the case.
No, it is not.
I'd like to study this, Bob.
Our partnership is tenuous. I'm not sure it would enjoy being studied. This is not a relationship of. Well, it is not a relationship of what our kind are normally used to. It's more a relationship of give and take. I do not know how this thing works or how close I am to it. But at the time, it seemed a better option than laying it loose on the city.
I never took you for dutiful.
Creed shrugs and says, "We all have our secrets."
Who else knows? And the Mirage Talon takes a drink of whatever fucked up thing he mixed. Keeping his eye on you still.
As far as I'm aware, you and Zoe are alone the ones who have seen it. Perhaps Lillian saw it from a corner. And I believe, if I remember correctly, it's hazy. But you blabbed to Tatiana.
Out of character, I'm not.
You told Tatiana about when we were in the car.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure it was just in the context of that fight.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if
Yeah.
it was straight up. This is this thing that does,
You said it was a horror of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
Creed basically made her get the impression that was a mini floating skull.
Okay.
He was careful about that. Then Creed scratches the back of his head and then goes, "Well, the Riddler might have been aware, so that's a thing, but he seemed to be a lot more aware of stuff about my kind than I would like. It profits me not to advertise everything I can do."
We all like to keep our cards face down. The most eloquent townsman ever.
Yeah.
What else? In that vein, Anthony has the Riddler in a manner of. Actually, you wouldn't add anything. You just say Anthony has the Riddler, and that's
I'm aware. I was at partially at the meeting as well.
You've read Riddler's notes.
Unfortunately, he had nothing on this thing, but I have read the notes and made note of some fascinating things.
How much are you comfortable? How comfortable are you with Anthony potentially having that information? And he means he's got the Riddler who's studying your kind, just on tap now.
I am not the most secretive about my kind, and given what he is, who he is, and the fact that I suspect he works for others is beyond Tatiana, I will say I do not have any qualms with him.
Very well.
After all, the biggest leak probably in the city on the nature of vampires is probably me. And he gives a rueful grin.
The Mirage chuckles, but offers no sound.
Yeah.
You're aware that Nathaniel is the Seneschal.
Oh yeah, that's going to get him a target painted on his back real quick. Looks conspiracy between you and the walls, just between you and me. He's even weaker than me,
I know.
in blood at least.
As a gesture of goodwill, I will tell you that I know how strong my peers are. At least, as you put it, in the blood.
Interesting.
In return, I want to know more about this vampire court.
Shrugs and goes, I'm going to get in massive trouble for this. But I'll tell you,
In my home, there's no prying eyes here.
if this leaks from me, that is, or if the leak is traced back to me. So in return, I'll expect in this regards
Pardon me.
some discretion
You mean about, or sorry, you mean
about
Amber.
about Amber.
When you were saying you want more discretion, and you assumed that Amber knows everything Talon knows.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. My character's saying, if I tell you this stuff, it can't be traced back to me. Basically, I've already probably put myself in enough hot water, and if should I get in trouble over this, I would expect your kind's help.
At the very least, I can offer you my assistance, and you've seen what I can do, at least.
That is all I ask. Besides of which, I'm planning on throwing my lot heavily in with another of your kind, if you hadn't noticed. Titus.
So you're not just toying with him?
No. He's an old friend of mine. One of the few that I've made over the years. I did not know he was a beast until he came back. Though I don't suspect he was anything like this before he went to jail. I can honestly say the friendship I have with him up to this point was genuine.
Why up to this point?
Well, we are in the present, aren't we? I cannot speak towards the future. And I cannot say what his opinion of me is now that he knows that I'm a parasite.
He seems to... How would I put this? Talon shrugs, like with his drink in hand, and he doesn't seem the type to understand finesse, nuance. I'm only just learning about the masses and these tools people use in their circles with their peers. He doesn't seem... Talon like just trails off.
Kree gives a small chuckle and says, "Don't worry, I'm in the same boat as him most of the time."
That's just posting the scene.
Yeah. Gives a small chuck. Like I said, gives a small chuckle, says, "I'm in the same boat most of the time. But the world is changing. I doubt vampires can stay hidden much longer. with technology running rampant as it is, increasing, evolving, changing society, transcending society, we have to change with it.
Last time you guys were exposed, you call it the Great Disaster.
No, we weren't even exposed back then. The metas were exposed. We almost became exposed. I do not wish for our kind to be exposed. I do not wish for anything to happen to our kind. But we need to adjust. We need to change. My law is stuck in the old ways. The Invictus are stuck in the old ways. Don't get me wrong. Some of them, like the Prince, are trying to drag the misbegotten fools out of the Dark Ages, but he has to do it while they're kicking and screaming. I mean, hell, a reaction to just him asking, reaction to just him asking for help, you probably saw if you know about or Nathan's evolution in our court, his promotion. We literally had assassins on us because we're too progressive. Though I must ask, were you watching from my shadow or his?
How would you even know Talon was watching?
I've seen you step out of shadows.
So you're just assuming that Talon was watching him?
Yeah.
When he learned about the Seneschal. Okay.
My character's just making an assumption. He knows that you can watch people through shadows.
Fair.
He's literally said loud that he expects that you're watching him half the time.
Fair.
Like I've said when my guy was drunk, oh, this is, or when he was high, when he was introducing you, this is Talon. He'll be watching you from your shadow.
From now on. Yeah.
Yes.
Talon sort of almost dissipates for a moment, but then thinks it's like he thought better of it. I'm gonna say this once, and it does not leave this place. My foot isn't gone. It's in Nathaniel's shadow.
At which part Creed bursts out laughing. He's like, oh, that's a good one. That's a nice one. I can't wait to see his reaction if he ever finds out.
He won't. And you can tell he's like,
not from my lips, I promise. It's probably wise. I don't exactly trust that man either. But anyways, the only reason I was asking that, and baby, you can watch my show all the time. Just make sure that I don't have a socket in it first. Otherwise, you might see something you don't want. You know, with the apartments are rocking, don't come a knocking. And he waggles his eyebrow. Anyways, the only reason I ask all this is to see what you knew or didn't know, which explains something. So
I mean, he just told you one of his guarded secrets.
Yeah.
So.
He's going to respond to this by going, so the reason I asked is because that means you missed my little show. You see, while I was down there talking with the prince, when I went away from Tatiana, he decided to let me have my way with a third of the conspirators. Fortunately, I did not get a chance. He said the same bullshit line that he said the same bullshit line that Mattress Malone said. Something about, "Oh God, I have been faithful to you. Take me now. I am your follower," or some shit. And then bees. Lots and lots of bees. So on the plus side, no, not another gargoyle. On the downside, we've got more of them in the city. The prince told me they were Diablerist, cultist of some sort. You
I
seem
don't care trying to know what a Diablerist is, but
Yeah.
Talon will probably ask.
Shrugs and says, I think he said something about demon worshippers. You seem more affluent on that subject. However, if you do not know, I'll have to talk to Bianca about it. He gets a small smile at that thought.
So are you going to fill Talon in on the the court, seeing as he's rather nice?
Right. Sorry. If you go court, Creed just simply forgot about.
I've told you, I've shared my secrets with you. Now you share yours with me.
Creed will be like, oh, right, so the court. So here's the basic deal with the vampire court. The vampire court is run by a prince. A prince is basically the head leader. Underneath him are the seneschals.
And then you have the Primogen and so on.
The Primogens and then all that. He'll fill you in on the basic positions. But what you really need to know about are the 5 covenants. The 5 covenants.
Oh, right.
You've heard me talking about the Invictus before. Bunch of stuck-up assholes, if you ask me. Some of them are better than others, but they're all rich, prissy, and think vampires have the right to rule, basically. They rule from the shadows. They control the cities and the population. They're assholes, if you ask me. But if you need a better example, think of them as the Republicans.
You're talking to someone who hasn't been in society.
I know.
So, like Nathaniel.
Nathaniel and Tatiana are both of the Invictus.
I don't know that much.
Neither of them are actually good at being Invictus. That's half my problem with Tatiana. She pays lip service to her own covenant, but then she fails to portray it properly. I know I shouldn't complain about that, but I watch it, and I watch her, and I know that her own naivety will get her in trouble one day.
Talon shrugs and as though he's going to say something, but then stops himself. And I had misgivings of her leadership, or in her, however that phrase should be said. Misgivings about her leadership. She acts with authority, but now I've seen who's really in charge of your kind.
Gives a small shrug and says, yeah. Next, we've got the Circle of the Crown. Pagan religious nut jobs. They tend to go out into the woods and worship their goddess. The beast, the goddess, the old mother. I don't know what to call it. I don't know what exactly it is. It may be related to you guys. in your talk of being the first, but I'm not exactly sure. But they can do some, like I've said to others, I may not worship a god, but I know they're real. I've seen the gift the god their goddess places on them, their blood magic. All vampires have a tie with blood, a manipulation of sorts.
You've
The
brought up the blood bond before.
Yes,
This seems like you're not talking about that.
no, they can use their own blood to make sorcery. I've seen only a limited bit of it. I believe there we have met one before. I'm not 100% sure, but the way Patience acts and talks, I suspect her of being one of the crones.
Hmm.
I'm saying that because I can't remember Alf character. She's told me flat out.
Oh,
I
okay.
think she has, but I'm not sure.
Well, she's straight up based on stuff she's told Talon.
Yeah.
He'll basically confirm your suspicion.
Yeah, okay. Then there's the other side of the religious coin, the Lancian de Sanctum. Don't actually know much about them. They are tied to the Christian Church. They, I've heard rumors that they have some sort of belief in the twisted belief in the Bible or something. Unfortunately, I
Talon
can't.
just laughs. So that's why they crucified the kindred before burning them. Seems awfully poetic.
Yes. Unfortunately, I can't actually tell you anything about them, simply because I don't even know if there's any actual Lancium Sanctum in the city.
Very well.
I've heard rumors of one, but I have yet to meet them. So they are not a power you need to worry about yet.
What about you?
Oh, I'm getting to that. I'm saving the best for last. There's, of course, the Order Dracul. Now, those guys are awesome. I'm not one of them. I missed my calling card for them, but Bianca's one, and believe me, I know how great they are through her.
The way he says that, Talon's kind of taking a mental note that every time he brings up Bianca, he kind of changes a little.
Yeah, and he gets this sort of goofy grin on his face. Anyways, the Ordo has understands that, or they don't understand it fully. They don't believe this is a curse like I do, but they understand that it does afford a certain. And he looks at his hand and just sits and closes it. Benefits. They seek to evolve past our limitations, evolve past them, become something better, stronger. I can appreciate that. At least they're trying to keep up with the transhumanist movement. And then my kind, the Carthian movement. We are the revolutionaries. We are the people. We are those of the vampires who have no place to go, who have realized that we must change with the world, that we must try and at least adjust to bring about something right, something different. We're hippies. He gives a small smile.
Talon's kind of nodding along with
Yeah.
the explanation of the covenants, and let's see. We brought up Charm, we brought up the Beast, we brought up vampire politics. I wonder what else he would be interested in learning at the moment. He told you that he knows your blood potency and the respective power level of his peers. That was what he quote unquote traded for vampire court knowledge. But then he went and told you that he broke his foot off in Nathaniel's ass. So, so he's like, what else? You know, I've shared something not even all beasts know about with you in regards to Nathaniel. So, and that in itself, he kind of gives the implication is knowledge that not all beasts know about it. So what else can you tell me about our peers?
Well, I'm pretty sure the lovers have went and gone and blood bond themselves, even after Tatiana's first disaster with William.
That's a dangerous thing.
I recognize the signs.
Especially now that he's Sinistral. Oh,
Especially that, and given the fact that our own sire is back in town.
Your sire's in town.
That's what I've been told. He hasn't ordained to bother me yet, but I was never his favorite.
He bothered Tatiana, though.
Yes.
If you were aware.
I'm well aware.
That was one of the few times Tatiana showed a different side of herself.
Aye. It's gone to her, definitely. Then again, I never had to deal with him. I was a petty accident, let's just say. She, on the other hand, in his regard, is her plaything. I am trying to think about what else you need to know or would like to know. Obviously, you've seen that we can change people with our blood. Those that are still alive, we can make them stronger, faster, give them healing, like our kind.
Tatiana offered to ghoul Zoe.
Yes.
That's what you're referring to?
And that would have allowed her to steal her away. Mind you, if I was given the chance to ghoul Zoe, I'd offer it as well. But I would have made sure she was fully aware of the repercussions. Our blood is addictive.
Blood,
yes.
Which has its own... Ghouling isn't separate from what we previously discussed.
And that's why I'm so fascinated by this ritual that I found from the Riddler. It preserves the blood. It allows people to become ghouls. But those I've met who are these ghouls have shown no signs of blood bond. If I could find a way to mimic this ritual, think about the revolution I can make, the drugs I can make. I can make a pill that would make someone faster, stronger, more reliant, without enslaving them. Do not get me wrong. I am not a good person. I am not a friendly person. I'm an honest person. But I'm well aware that I'm not a good person. I have blood bonded people before. I have stripped them of their will. And I will do so again when the time is needed. You have seen what I can do with my own majesty. I can go far beyond what even Tatiana can do.
That I'm aware of. What seems to be your trademark, as it were.
Gives a small shrug. Aye. That is definitely one way to look at it. On the plus side, one last thing to tell you. Well, I have not tested the theory in person, obviously. You and your kind should not be able to feed off of. We need pure human blood. You saw what happened when a vampire tried to feed off
Werewolf?
a non-human of some sort.
Oh.
I'm referring to the Private Eye, Kate,
Oh. Yeah.
and then Nosferatu.
Freaky Nasi, yeah.
I do not know what happens when our blood is. What would happen to us should we try feeding off your kind? Personally, I like trying to feed off mages, and there's a couple other creatures that are strange and unusual. I cannot digest their blood, but boy almighty, the trips are awesome. He gives a small chuckle.
This has been a rather enlightening discussion.
Yes, it has. Now, one final thing. I've been open and honest with you, so I hope you understand that what I'm trying to do here is to establish close ties with those outside of my condition.
You want friends that aren't vampires.
Yes, I am not a fan of my own kind. I've made that very clear. I am not opposed to them. I am not opposed to what we do, but to pretend that we are good, to pretend that we are human in any way, shape, or form anymore is foolish. I know this, and Anthony clearly sees this. I would not suggest you trusting the other kind. I would not suggest you trust me even. But I will say, should you need me, should you need favors, should you need my help, know that I will always have your back.
He nods, and he's... Today we mutually shared information. Perhaps we're even, perhaps not. But
I don't bother keeping track of those sorts of things. Not amongst friends.
But he has family ties with you, and you've proven that you're at least amicable, cooperative. You're not actively trying. You know what I mean? Like, nothing about you strikes him as him being used to further your gains. So,
yes, because his only gains is drugs.
I'll share one last thing with you. But know that if you use it, you will owe me. And he'll hand you a small black cube. Should you find yourself in trouble, crush that to dust.
Creed will nod and thank him. Oh, and if you want to put a foot in my shadow, go ahead, just let me know first.
I don't make a habit of it, but a lot has happened. And I recently spoke with Nathaniel before what I did came to pass. I meant what I said. If anyone learns about this, there will be consequences. And I know that your kind are weak to fire.
And sunlight. Don't forget sunlight.
I know.
Creed will just shrug and say, if I blab, you've got full permission from me. But hey.
It's just Talon being Talon. He's still your friend.
I know. Creed will give a half smile and go, as long as you don't mind me and Titus climbing the ladders of the underworld, we're all cool.
I couldn't care less about the underworld.
That's what I kind of figured.
That includes whoever you're charmed to. He won't let on that he suspects it's Bianca, but
yeah,
he doesn't give a shit what your relationship is with other people. If somebody finds out that he's making a horror spawn,
yep,
he'll burn you.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But now Creed is going to talk more openly in front of Talon because he assumes if he needs to tell you something, you need information, it'll get back to you.
Sorry, that didn't quite.
If basically he'll assume if he needs to get you information and Nathan's the only one around, if he tells Nathan, you'll know.
Oh, as long as it's yeah. Okay. Oh, or, you know what? As he's handing you the black cube, I don't know if he'll tell you that it's 5 days, but he'll tell you that his other set of eyes has a limited lifespan.
All right. He'll shrug and go, well, at least that means you'll get your foot back.
Yeah, when you asked whether or not I could take care of this, I couldn't say it in public, but it'll come back eventually.
That's good. Last thing I want is for you to be limping around. Means you can't climb it.
Carry me. Means you can't climb. True.
But hey, I'll keep you updated on stuff when they come up. But frankly, like I said, I don't really have secrets, man.
This is fair. I've been more than forthcoming with you, Creed. Yep. I expect the same.
I appreciate it. You got it.
We could probably just end the scene with us walking out of the physical Velvet Rose.
And Creed telling you about all the drug plans he has.
Oh. All right.
You said be forthcoming.
Yeah, that's fair.
And you probably don't understand half of it as he starts talking scientific terms.
Nobody can write it down on paper.
Yeah.
Well, the real Talon will be writing it.
All right.
Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Thank you for watching and playing. That was a very enlightening encounter between two newfound friends. Until next time, take care.